My name is Caitlin. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about books, and I found one through katytastic and Jesse the Reader called Disney Book Tag, and I'm going to do it. There's 10 things for the book tag, and number 1 is The Little Mermaid, a character who is out of their element, a fish out of water sort, and I chose Alina Starkov from Shadow and Bone, the first book in the Grisham trilogy. I chose Alina because she was basically an ordinary person her whole life, and then during the war, she goes out onto the fold with her unit, whatever. She's a map maker, and she winds up to save her best friend's life, Mal, using some sort of power, some light power thing, and realizing and getting told she's a Grisha, one of the special magic users. Well, small science. Sorry. The Darkling recruits her into his little army thing as the world's only sun summoner. And it goes from there. By the way, the Darkling's not a nice guy, even though he pretends to be. So, yeah. That is my first book for The Little Mermaid. A character who goes through a serious transformation. Let's see. That would happen to be Feyre from A Court of Mist and Fury. She grows into herself so much in this book. From basically being a meek, whimpering, basically letting everybody walk all over her, from Ianthe, Tamlin, and Lucian to all the Spring Court people. And then to going from that to the strong High Lady of the Night Court. She grows into herself, her abilities, and realizes that as a newly made Fae, and as someone that knows that she's a strong character, she can do basically whatever. I love Feyre. She is my favorite of Sarah J. Maas's characters. This is the best one in the series. I cannot wait for book 3. I absolutely adore Sarah J. Maas's books. I have all of them, including 3 copies of Empire Storms. That is how bad I am, and I got 3 so that I could have the one from Barnes & Noble that has the pictures in the front and the back, and the one from Target that allows me to put the little poster on my walls, because I have a wall poster obsession. And book 3 is for Snow White, a book with a cast of eclectic characters, and that would be The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. I love Chris Colfer's books. The man is a great writer. I've read all of his, how do I classify this? They're not kid, but they're not young adult. They're in between. They're middle-aged. Middle grade books. Basically, they're meant for, young teen, pre-teenagers books. And I love the series. I have all 5 of the series. I still need to get his Struck by Lightning book. I've read it, but I've not actually gotten it. The 2 characters on the front, Alex and Connor, they are basically forced into this land of fairy tales and to basically save the land of fairy tales. And they have to get out of it by finding the ingredients for a spell to get home. When in the end, their fairy godmother and grandmother sends them home. But their story doesn't end there. This book is wonderful. Book 4 is a book that put me to sleep, and I chose for that The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. Oh my god, I'm in chapter 37, I think. Hang on, let me look. Where's my bookmark? Yeah, I'm in chapter 37. And I cannot get through this book. This is the first book in the trilogy, and I cannot get through this. And I'm really sad because I want to get to the Infinite Sea, and then wind up checking out The Last Star in the library, my local library, but if I can't get through this, I'm gonna cry. So yeah. And the next one is The Lion King, a character who had something traumatic happen to them in childhood. I chose for that The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. Once again, another Sarah J. Maas book. Like I said, I have all of her books. I chose this because at like age 8, she was forced to flee her homeland of Terrasin after her parents were brutally murdered by the King of Adarlan. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I love this book. I love this series. This is a series of novellas, but I have all of the books. She grows into herself later, but we know her originally as Selena Sardothian, the best assassin in Adarlan. And yeah, I love this book. My next is Beauty and the Beast, a beast of a book that you were intimidated by, but later found intriguing. And I chose book 4 in A Song of Ice and Fire, A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. I'm obsessed with this series. I've seen the show. I love the show. I'm obsessed with the books. I've read all 5. I cannot wait for book 6 and 7. It's crazy. George R.R. Martin is taking his time on Winds for Winter, which I'm sad about because this book actually was not the one that took me the longest, but it is big. It's over 1,000 pages. Oh, where's the total? Stupid water damage. It's got a lot of pages. It's got a lot. But yeah, this is my beast of a book. Book 7 is a character who gets their wish granted for better or worse, and for that I chose Jacob from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Yes, this is the movie edition. I love this book. This is the Barnes & Noble version. I chose this because Jacob grew up listening to these stories from his grandfather, hearing about these children, these stories of children that he wanted to meet. Eventually, he did meet them, which means his wish was granted. Even though it was a subconscious wish, it wasn't consciously done. I love this book. It took me days to read. Yeah, if you haven't read it, read it. My next book is Mulan, for number 8. A character who pretends to be someone or something that they are not. And I chose Alana the First Adventure, book 1, and Tamora Pierce's Song of the Lioness Quartet. And I chose this book because the main character, the redhead on front, basically, she goes as a man, she hides herself in the royal palace, as a boy, trying to become a knight, even though she's a girl, and she trades places with her twin so that he can learn sorcery and she can be a page in this book. She becomes a squire at the end, and then a knight in book 2, and then book 3 and 4 continues her journey into knighthood, and she falls in love, she falls out of love, she falls back into love with someone else. This series is just amazing. I happen to say that if you haven't read this series, and I read this series as a teenager thanks to my best friend, you must read this series. Book 9 is Toy Story, a book or series with characters you wish would come to life, and that would be, I chose the Mortal Instruments series. Actually, I chose City of Bones, particularly. I bought this a while ago. This is a different copy than normal copies, and I chose this because I'd love to meet Magnus Bane and Jace. Alec and Magnus's love story through the series is by far one of my favorites. I want to get the freaking Infernal Devices trilogy. I've read it, but I don't have it. I still need to get the Bane Chronicles. I need to get the Shadowhunter Academy series chronicle thing, whatever, the novellas. I read this whole series. In fact, the last book actually came out on my brother's birthday a couple years ago. And book 10 is Disney's Descendants, your favorite villain or morally ambiguous character, and for that, I actually chose a thriller, a Christian thriller, and that would be a shock, because this is my choice. It's called 3 by Ted Dekker. The main character, Kevin, actually is haunting himself, but he keeps receiving these calls, and from a guy named Slater, who is threatening to kill things, and then there's this character Sam, his friend, who you later realize that Kevin actually has multiple personality disorder, or something along those lines. He is basically a great villain because he's also the protagonist. He's scaring himself. It's weird. It's cool. It is an amazing book. I read this book twice because I love this book. I fell in love with this book and would recommend it immensely for readers that want to read it. So yeah. And that is it for the Disney book tag. And I'm going to say thank you to Jesse the Reader and Katytastic for posting this on their YouTube channel, because otherwise I wouldn't have found it, because I follow their videos.